What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. When it comes to solo queue, there's quite a few champions that you just don't want to see on your team, and can start putting you on tilt before the game even begins. The stereotypes attached to these 10 champions end up being true more often than not, and are quite likely to result in a poor experience, and are the kind of thing that makes you hate solo queue. Let's get started. At number 10, we have Alistar. As a champion who is so reliant on his WQ combo to be successful, the amount of times players mess it up is, quite frankly, ridiculous. And although it is a little bit difficult to pull off consistently, the amount of times someone gets away with a sliver of HP due to a flubbed combo has got to be almost every single time someone in solo queue plays Alistar. The fact that he relies on his combos so damn much and people mess it up so often is really frustrating to have on your team, and honestly, if you have less than 80 ping, the combo is definitely not as hard as the players make it seem, but a flubbed Alistar combo can often lose a fight entirely, and when it's your teammate messing it up, that just really sucks. At number 9, it's Tahm Kench. With the tendency of this champion to be a huge troll, it's quite often that he's going to throw you headfirst into the enemy team as somewhat of a joke. And good luck with his ultimate too, and pray that you don't get ported to your death. He gets to eat you at any time, and so gets to control your character, leaving you feeling like Tahm is on the enemy team. And to top it all off, he has one of the lowest win rates in the entire game, and often feels like a totally useless character, even if the player isn't trolling you. And so the chances of you having a good time with this guy on your team is just not really that great. At number 8, it's Bard. The interactions his abilities create with the enemies and allies can result in quite a lot of situations where a Bard misplay just straight up loses you the game, or at the very least leaves you frustrated and annoyed at this troll of a champion. Bard's ultimate is so difficult to land properly that it's sure to go wrong eventually, and the magical journey can lead to you getting caught out and stuck in a tough situation that would otherwise be impossible. On top of it, Bard players really like to leave lane to go to pick up chimes and end up getting caught or leaving you in a 1v2 scenario a lot more often than is necessary, and just gets super annoying for any AD carry player. Next up at number 7, it's Fiora. Although the rework might make things better, Fiora players have a real knack for getting ganked and then proceeding to be a huge flamer while they go on tilt and get snowballed on, while also managing to run in 1v5 during teamfights to die instantly after getting crowd controlled. But somehow it's your fault that they did that. If you don't camp their lane hard, it's sure to end in a pool of rage due to the champion's ability to get snowballed on so hard. And what better target for a Fiora player to take their frustration out on other than you, their solo queue teammate. Have fun! And at number 6, it's Shaco. He's resulted in coining the phrase Shaco Syndrome, and that whenever there's a Shaco on your team, he always seems to be completely useless, while whenever there's a Shaco on the enemy team, they always seem to ruin your day. And for an early game champion who has a tough time having an impact in the late game, when this little guy doesn't help you win the lanes, and they somehow manage to always find a way, you're pretty much left in what feels like a 4v5 and wondering why the hell this guy is playing this champion. And at number 5, it's Udyr. With the new Devourer item, interacting with the opponents gets thrown out the window for most Udyr players who are going to farm for the first 20 minutes of a game, never gank, and then complain about you dying to the enemy jungler. And don't forget about their constant Trick 2G disrespects, giving the opponent free kills for something that really just isn't all that funny. I mean, come on dude, running in and dying 1v5 is not a disrespect to the opponents. You're just an idiot. At number 4, it's Master Yi. I've never seen a champion that had such a huge tendency to consistently run in 1 vs 5, expecting a good outcome from it. But don't worry, he can't be slowed until he gets stunned and dies instantly due to his glass cannon build that should have stopped 2 damage items ago, leaving your team with no frontline to assist the Master Yi in his dives. And on top of that, he's just going to farm all game until he's useless in teamfights to stack up his build that is exactly the opposite of what you want from your jungler in a game, only to fail horribly in those teamfights trying to dive the backline for no particular reason whatsoever. And at number 3, it's Lee Sin. The Lee syndrome is another popular phrase that floats around for Lee Sins that have a tendency to dive in 1 vs 5, and since Lee Sin is such a mechanically difficult champion to play, the mistakes your teammate is bound to make will really make a fool of themselves and leaving you feeling like he's a totally stupid player. The failed insects, the missed sonic waves, and the 1v5 dives into the enemy team, as well as the delayed ward jumps will be a common occurrence, and those kind of flubs ruin the early and mid game for this champion, who falls off reasonably hard in the late game later on, often making the player completely useless. And while they might not rage at you as often as other champions, the lack of skill these guys are going to bring to the table more than makes up for it. At number 2, it's Vayne. As a champion who is so weak during the laning phase, you'd think that maybe the people who play Vayne would actually realize it, but no. Any Vayne on your team is certain to feed their lane quite hard since she's so weak, and more often than not, blame it entirely on you. I mean, if you want to play a late game champion, that's fine, but don't expect to win your lane. But one death and these guys go on tilt like crazy, saying their support is useless, the mid laner, top laner, and jungler should have sacrificed everything to babysit their lane, and well, it results in them never making it to their desired late game point and just being completely useless while bringing the whole team down for the entire game. And at number 1, it's Riven. And to put things into perspective, a Riven player is statistically twice as likely to AFK than anybody playing any other champion. I've never seen someone who goes on tilt so hard and so fast and so consistently. And it's sure to never be their fault that they died to that gank or got outplayed by their opponent because they're all Diamond 1 Smurfs who are getting held back by their teams anyways. Riven as a champion gets snowballed on super hard when behind, and her kit really makes the players feel frustrated if they're losing, but that certainly is no excuse, and these toxic assholes are definitely going to ruin your day if you don't camp the shit out of their lane. Always camp a Riven lane is a top tip that gets thrown around by pros, because these guys will seriously ruin your entire team if they just fall a little bit behind, and are going to do everything in their power to make you hate life, and more likely, hate having Riven on your team. And that just about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to tap that like button to help support me, as well as you could subscribe for some more awesome content in the future. And definitely check out some of the other videos on the screen too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.